how important, essential it is to create a story for your brand.
The story is probably the most important part because all of these brands are literally pushing the exact same product, right? A car is essentially a metal box with four wheels. Ergo, BMW, Land Rover, Mercedes, they all kind of have the same business challenge. The difference might be two things. One, who their audience is, right? BMW does not have the same audience as Ford, for example. And then two, the way that you make your product actually stand out, and that generally has to do with either the utility of the product and or enhanced features that you allow. And I can harken this back to our industry, right? This is about the kind of vehicle that you drive. So if you go to the trade desk vehicle, the trade desk vehicle has very wide utility. It's essentially your SUV, the sport utility vehicle of ad operation platforms. Whereas if you go to someone like YouTube, it's obviously a vehicle that's pertinent to a specific kind of terrain. And that terrain is specifically video, right? So that would be more your luxury car.
So, in a way, you're telling we have to utilize video platforms to tell these stories, right? Like that's one of the biggest medium that we can utilize.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that you have to utilize a specific channel, but it is a matter of understanding where your audience is and which channel they're on. YouTube happens to have a very large reach, right? So if it's around awareness, things of that nature, it makes a lot of sense. However, if you were trying to drive a purchase of a specific item that's more of like an everyday item, say toilet paper or paper towels, things of that nature, YouTube might not be the place where you'd want to advertise said product because it's not in the action driving mentality. When we are on YouTube, if you think about just the way we use it, more than likely, we're either watching something for entertainment or we're watching something for information. We're not generally in the I need to purchase now mentality.
That's true. That's true, actually.
Right.
Like in a way, can you generalize how do you use video marketing along with OTT? Like TV, television, advertisement, and commercials. How does one brand decide how to utilize all these platforms for their advertisement and commercials?
Yeah, great question, Richard. I would start with your budget, right? And the reason being is because these mediums have very different CPMs. They cost a very different amount. Number two, the addressability on any one of those channels is also very different. Understanding exactly how many people have seen your media on television is not the same as understanding exactly how many people have seen your ad on a digital platform where there is a one-to-one matchup for a exposed consumer ID or device versus the ad. Television does not give you the same kind of reach. So I'd start with understanding what our budget is, to understanding what our goal is. If you do have the goal, for example, of selling an actual product, then you want to put that product in a place where a consumer can actually transact, right? Which is more times than not going to be online as opposed to on television. On television, the only way to follow up and actually purchase something is to call in, right? And say, hey, I just saw this ad on television. They gave you a phone number. However, if you see an ad on YouTube or on a specific website, you can click directly on that ad, drive to the website, and purchase your product. So for brands, for advertisers, I think it depends on exactly what your goal is. Television is really awesome for awareness. The same is the case for YouTube, right? People are very much intending to watch the content that they're seeing. Ergo, when your ad shows up in the context of content that I'm paying attention to, I'm now resonating a little bit more. But the goal or the question is, are you expecting me to purchase something, or are you just expecting me to equate your car brand with towing capacity because I'm somebody who needs to tow things around, like I have horses or something of that nature, right? But again, with the CPG brand, I want to see that in context of something that actually gives me the opportunity to purchase. So that could be on Instacart, for example, right? I'm going on Instacart ordering my groceries. It makes perfect sense that I would see toilet paper and paper towels as an ad within the context of the media that I'm already consuming.
So, Brandon, right now, for these days, if you take startups or small or medium businesses, there are multiple platforms like Google Search, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or OTT. There are multiple platforms. Don't you think like these people don't have that much of budgets to invest on these platforms, or how they can get started in these platforms? So, what do you recommend?
I do think it's very difficult to understand which platforms to spread your budget across. I think that's one of the growing conundrums of the industry. And in fact, Google has an entire team that's dedicated to what they call MMM, media mix models, which is essentially trying to understand which media platform or channel brands should divide their budget across. But if you're a smaller brand, a nascent brand, I would start with the platforms that give you the most return for your dollar and also the most insights into whatever is being done. The reason being is because if you don't have a lot of money, then you need to learn a lot from everything that you do, right? Even if that activation is only, $200, if you're able to get an engagement rate, for example, or video completion rate, or test multiple creatives within that one campaign, you have to learn a lot early on. The reason being is because every dollar that you're spending is a dollar that leaves your business. And if that dollar does not return on its investment or add ROI, then you're truly just kind of throwing money into the wind. So when it comes to understanding which platform to start on, I would begin with your goals as a small business. And if your goal is leads, for example, then you might want to start with online platforms that are more display focused, right? Actually serve your media in places where people are reading content. And that's, the majority of the display web ecospace. If you're trying to get people aware of a new consumer good, a new product, then in that instance, you might want to go somewhere where people have very high attention rate and also very high completion rate. That's video, right? Because those 6-second bumper ads on YouTube were designed with intention, right? They recognize that consumers don't have a skip option for the 6-second ad. Ergo, you are really geared into that content because it also shows up in a 30-minute program. So you've been watching for 8 minutes, that the video cuts off 8 minutes in and goes into one 6-second ad that you cannot skip, a second 6-second ad that you cannot skip. And on that third one, you can, right? So those are really about brand building, about awareness, about driving consideration. And then if you're trying to go further down the funnel toward that purchase option, you really want to find yourself in places where people are in that mode of thinking about where they're purchasing. So whether that be a retail media site, right? Because whether it's, Target, Walmart, Target, Roundel, Walmart, Amazon and Instacart, people are already in that purchase mindset. So if you have a product that's a consumer good, it makes sense that you would show up in the context of media in that fashion. Whereas social media is more about understanding the influence and creating a consistent message for your brand. I don't think that many advertisers these days are seeing the return on investment that they would like to see from social media. But what they do recognize is that social media enhances their visibility greatly, right? It only takes one, influencer to retweet or to like a post in order for something to go viral, and that really raises the profile of a brand. So I don't think that many brands are really going that route specifically for sales, unless of course there's some of these very nascent clothing brands, right? And they know that people are on Instagram being inspired by what to wear. And therefore, you're just 2 clicks away from landing on someone's mobile site that's optimized to sell product.
Yes. So, Brandon, all of a sudden, I mean, if you can see, like last 3 or 4 years, all of a sudden, this influencer thing came to picture, and this video ads, everything is booming in the market. So, what might be the next? I mean, after 3 or 4 years, what might come, or after 10 or 15 years, what might come? Will AI impact our marketing field?
So AI is already impacting our marketing, whether your audience knows it or not. And the way that AI is interacting and influence our media, before I speak, in my opinion, about what's next, is they are automating entire advertising campaigns. Not only are they automating the entire advertising campaign, meaning when it starts, when it finishes, how much budget gets served on a particular day, they're automating the creation of the creative, right? So advertisers are now just bringing in pieces of assets. Those pieces of assets might be a folder with all of the different t-shirts that your business sells, right? And then you have another folder with all of the different slogans and campaign text that you would actually like to communicate. One of those might say men's spring t-shirts on sale now. Another one says winter inventory going on sale, right? All of these things are really just input into a platform, and AI technology, artificial intelligence, is essentially creating different models, different layers of that specific ad and creative so that you as an advertiser can learn exactly what's working and what's not. It gives you information more than it does a test and model. You guys have heard of A/B testing, right? Oh, I'll create this A creative and then I'll create this B. I'll put them both in the market and see what happens. AI technology allows us an A through Z